Yes, children, we are going to discuss some MCQs from the literature. And the purpose of preparing or discussing MCQs is to help you know the kinds of questions which might be asked in exams. And the best way, and there is no shortcut to prepare MCQs, only the route to prepare MCQs is reading text. Okay, read text as many times as you want until you are sure of handling any sort of MCQ from anywhere. So I'm reading out some extract, and you people first try to find out from where has that text been taken. Then there would be some questions. So let's start off. That's a great trouble with Alsace. She puts off learning till tomorrow. Now those fellows out there will have the right to say to you, how is it? You pretend to be Frenchmen and you can neither speak nor write your own language? But you are not the worst. Poor little France, we have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with. So this extract is from which chapter, children? Yes, it is from the last lesson, right? Okay, now the question is, number one is, those fellows refer to. Those fellows refer to, the options are villagers, Germans, Englishmen, the French. What's the answer? Those fellows refer to villagers, Germans, Englishmen, the French. Here it refers to the Germans. Okay. The phrase puts off learning till tomorrow means, puts off means, children, postponement. Okay. So the phrase puts off till tomorrow means does not start learning till the next day, postpone learning indefinitely, does not bother to learn till tomorrow, learns only under compulsion. So what's the correct answer? When you say puts off learning till tomorrow, it means postponing learning indefinitely. When you say I'll do it tomorrow, what you are doing, you are only postponing it for indefinite period. Tomorrow never comes. The tone of speaker in this context is, number one, ironical. When the writer was saying all these things, that the trouble with, that's the trouble with Alsace. She puts off learning till tomorrow. But you are not the worst, poor little France. We have all got a great deal to reproach ourselves with. So what's the tone of the speaker? Options are ironical, satirical, humorous, anguished. So children, the tone is anguished. Who is the speaker in these lines? Who is the speaker, children? When the speaker was saying the trouble, that's the trouble with Alsace. Who is the speaker? M. Hammer is the speaker. And M. Hammer, when he was telling France that he was only the one, he was not only the one worst case. He says like we all have to scold ourselves for all this, negligence. So here the tone of the speaker, that is M. Hammer, is anguished. He is pained. Okay, he is, really distressed at having wasted so much of time in not letting people learn their language. So as a teacher, he is also sorry for that. He feels that even parents are to be blamed for, even children are to be blamed for, and even he is also to be blamed for not having taught the people their own mother tongue. So the tone is anguished. The speaker in this context is dash in outlook. The options are provincial, universal, nationalist, and chauvinist. So the speaker M. Hammer in these lines, when he was talking about French language, mother tongue, and all, so his tone is he is he in his outlook he seems to be nationalist. Okay, chauvinist is when you dominate upon others. He's not chauvinist. Germans are chauvinist. Okay, when Germans are imposing their language upon French people, they are chauvinist. They are linguist chauvinist. You should know these things. Right now, the question is on behalf of M. Hamel, that M. Hamel, when he wants to protect his own language, when he wants to safeguard his own language, he is not a chauvinist. Safeguarding one's language is one's responsibility. So it shows that you are a nationalist. But when you are imposing your language upon others, that is being national, that is being chauvinist. And Germans were chauvinist. Okay? If we are trying to safeguard our mother tongue, we are nationalist. But when we impose our language upon others, that is being chauvinist. Okay? Chauvinism is domination. So this was one extract from one. This was one, question from one extract. Now, second one I'm going to read. First of all, try to identify the lesson from where this extract has been taken. I struck at the water as I went down, expanding my strength as one in a nightmare fights an irresistible force. I had lost my breath. My lungs ached. My head throbbed. I was getting dizzy, but I remembered the strategy. I would spring from the bottom of the pool and come like a cork to the surface. I would lie flat on the water, strike out my arms, and thrash my legs. Then I would get to the edge of the pool and be safe. So the name of the lesson is the deep water. Yes. So now the questions are, so who is the writer of Deep Water? William Douglas. And this is an autobiographical, it's an autobiographical chapter. So it is William Douglas's own, experience in deep water. It is autobiographical. Expanding my strength as one in nightmare conveys that the narrator dash. So here you have to tell the meaning. Expanding my strength as one in a nightmare, it conveys that the narrator, options are, was finding himself helpless. Expanding my strength as one in nightmare. So does it mean that narrator was finding himself helpless, or found that he was overexerting himself, or was deeply pained at his predicament? Predicament is, children, condition. Or the narrator was in a state of stupor. Okay, dizziness. He didn't know what he was doing. He was like unconscious. So expanding my strength as one in nightmare means he was finding himself helpless. Second question, I was getting dizzy, shows that the narrator was, options are, I was getting dizzy means that the narrator was too excited, too nervous, fainting, fear-stricken. I was getting dizzy means he was excited, nervous, he was getting fainted, or he was fear-stricken. What does it mean? Dizziness basically means when you feel like you are fainting. Okay? So what does he mean by this? I was getting dizzy. So was the narrator excited? No. Was he about to faint? No. He was rather planning to come out of the water. He had all plan in his mind. So he was not fainting. So was he fear stricken? At that time, not really. He was planning to come out of water. So was he nervous? Yes. I was getting dizzy means I was nervous. Third question. The narrator's struggle in the pool for his survival shows that he was struggling to survive in water. He was struggling to come out of the water. He was struggling for his survival. It shows that he was innovative, resourceful, imaginative, reflective. So what is the correct answer? So when he was struggling in the pool for his survival, what struggle he was doing, children? First, he made a plan that he would he said that I would spring from the bottom of the pool and come like a cork to the surface. He felt like he would come out of the surface of the water like a cork. Then I would lie flat on the water. Then I would strike out my arms, then thrash my legs. Then I would get to the edge of the pool and be safe. So this was all planning he was doing. This was all he was thinking, like how he would come out of water. So he was not, you can say, he was not getting scared. Okay. So the question over here, so his struggle to survive in water shows that he was, options are innovative. Can you say that he was innovative? Or can you say that he was resourceful? Children, innovative is when you think about something new. When you are dying, then you will think about coming out. So it is not innovation. So resourcefulness is like making use of resources what in your hands are. Okay? What we call as jugadu also in our typical language. So resourceful is when we are able to manage with what we have. So he was not managing whatever he had. So resourceful is also a wrong option. Imaginative. So when he was planning to come out of water, it was not his imagination. He was thinking, and thinking is called reflection. Reflective. So fourth option, reflective, is correct answer. So the narrator's struggle in the pool for his survival shows that he was reflective. Reflective means having the ability to think even in crisis. Okay. Okay, next question is, mention the figure of speech used in the expression come like a cock to the surface. So when the poet says that he would come out of the water like a cock, what poetic device has been used here? Hyperbole? Yes or no? Is it exaggeration that he would come out like a cock? Because when you have to save yourself from drowning, then you have to come out of the water like a cock only. There is no other option. And if you are late even by a few fractions of seconds, then you might drown. So it is not a hyperbole. The example of hyperbole is, which you people have read in Lost Spring, rag picking, garbage is like a gold for them. Garbage is gold for them. So garbage is gold wasn't hyperbole, because when they would be scrounging through the garbage, they would be able to find out something useful. But doesn't mean that they would find gold out of it. So it's okay, they would get something useful out of it, but saying that they would get gold, it was gold for them, that is too much. That is exaggerating upon the fact. So hyperbole is exaggeration. Okay, when I say I told you about hundreds of times, when I might have said something about 10 times or 5 times, but I say I told you hundreds of times, it is also hyperbole. So when the writer says that he would come out like a cock, was it a hyperbole? No. Was it a metaphor? Come out like a cock. Metaphor doesn't have as or like. So something which has as or like is simile. So children, here the expression is simile. Come out like a cock is simile. So another option it was given over here was synecdoche. Synecdoche means, synecdoche is a poetic device in which a part represents the whole. When I say skilled hands, so when I say skilled hands, I mean a worker, a skilled person, an artist. When we say four-wheel, okay, four-wheeler. Four-wheeler doesn't mean that only four-wheeler. Four-wheeler is actually any vehicle which has four wheels. It can be a car or something. So these are the examples of synecdoche. Okay. So simile, come like a cock means simile. It's a simile because there is a comparison with like. Okay. Okay, next now I'm going to read the extract. Listen. We must simply tell them that we intend to give him to the police. As indeed we must. So now we must think of the children and your position. It would endanger all of us if we did not give this man over as a prisoner of war. So children, try to find out the lesson and also try to find out the speaker. Yes, it is from the enemy. We must simply tell them, I'm repeating the same line, and find out even the speaker. We must simply tell them that we intend to give him to the police. As indeed we must. So thou, we must think of our children and your position. It would endanger all of us if we did not give this man over as prisoner of war. Certainly, Sadao agreed, I would not think of doing anything else. Thus agreed together, they lifted the man. So children, who was the speaker of the first paragraph when I was saying, we must simply tell them that we intend to give him to the police? Who is a speaker? Yes, Hana is a speaker. Well done. Okay, now see the question. But let me finish the extract. Thus agreed, together they lifted the man. He was very light, like a fowl that had been half starved for a long time, until it is only feathers and skeleton. So his arms hanging, they carried him up the steps and into the side door of the house. This door opened into a passage, and down the passage they carried the man towards an empty bedroom. So the word them in the first line refers to, so the word them in the line refers to, when the line was, we must simply tell them that we intend to hand him over to the police. Who are them here? Options are police, servants, children, and neighbors. So what are them here? Servants. Well done. So servants are them. So Hana is telling her husband Sadao that we must tell our servants that we are only planning to hand over this prisoner of war, that is this, injured man, to the police. That is our planning. The body, second question, the body of the wounded soldier was as light as that of a, so here the answer was there in the passage. But children, you would rarely get these kinds of answers in the passage. The body of the wounded soldier was as light as that of a fowl, Fowl. Means it was very light in weight. Hana felt as if, yes, children, listen to the options again. The body of the wounded soldier was as light as that of a fowl. Second option, half starved bowl. Third option is deer. And fourth option is vulture. So what's the correct answer? Is it fowl or half starved bowl? Fowl. Fowl. Okay. Next question. Hana felt as if they did not give the wounded man over as a prisoner of war, it would dash. So why did she want to hand over the wounded man to the police? Because she felt if they did not give the wounded man over as a prisoner of war, it would dash. So the options are strengthen them, totally wrong option. Enlighten them, that is also wrong. Defame them, that seems to be okay. Fourth, endanger them. So what is correct option? Defame them or endanger them? If they would not hand over the wounded man as prisoner of war to the police, what will happen? Will they be defamed or will they be endangered? What's the correct answer? They will be endangered. Okay, it's not about their bad reputation. It's also about the way they are risking their life. Okay, for this, Sadao might be even, imprisoned. Okay, Sadao might even get a threat of being called a traitor. So it is a condition of endanger. Next question is, they carried the wounded man into dash. So they carried the wounded man into, they carried the wounded man into, the options are the bedroom, their bedroom, an empty bedroom, the operation theater, their drawing room. So the answer over here is they carried the wounded man into their empty bedroom, into the empty bedroom. And children, later on in the story, we come to know that that empty bedroom was actually the bedroom of Sadao's father when he was alive. Okay, so this empty bedroom was the bedroom of Sadao's father, the one who was a typical Japanese. Okay. So now next, let's see this. Now there is an extract from the poem. Listen to that. And felt that old familiar ache, my childhood's fear. But all I said was, see you soon, Amma. All I did was smile and smile and smile. So who is the speaker? Who is the speaker thinking of? So the options are, the speaker is thinking of her. First tell me, like, from where has this extract been taken? My mother at 66. So who is the speaker thinking of? The speaker is thinking of her sister, brother, grandmother, mother. So what's the answer? Mother. Yes. So the speaker is thinking about her mother and felt that old familiar ache, my childhood fear. But all I said was, see you soon, Amma. And all I did was smile and smile and smile. So here the speaker was thinking about her mother. Now next question is there. The childhood fear of the poet was that. So what was her childhood fear? Options are, though you must be knowing the answer without my giving you the options, but even then I'm giving you options. The childhood fear of the poet was that she would die young. Totally wrong. She was not fearing about her own death. That her mother would leave her alone. Okay, seems to be all right. She would be left alone in this world after her mother's death. Yeah. So no one would love her. That is also wrong. So first and fourth options are totally wrong. Yes. So the option number C is correct. The childhood fear of the poet was that her mother, that she would be left alone in the world after her mother's death. That is correct option. The poet smiled and smiled too. This is also a very famous question from this poem. The poet in the end smiled and smiled and smiled. So the question over here is, why did the poet smile and smile? So the poet smiled and smiled too. Option number 1, amuse herself. Totally wrong. Hide her feelings of sorrow. Seems correct. Overcome her grief. Was she smiling to overcome her grief or to become happy? No. Forget unpleasant things. Maybe. So what's the very correct answer? The poet smiled and smiled too. Option 1 was amuse herself. B, hide her feelings of sorrow. C, overcome her grief. And third, fourth, forget unpleasant things. So the answer is hide her feelings of sorrow. She smiled and smiled to forget her feelings of sorrow. Okay. Next question is, which poetic device is used in smile and smile and smile? So the options are, so which poetic device is used in smiled and smiled and smiled? I guess this is the evident answer is there. So because the word has been repeated, so what poetic device? I'm giving you options. Alliteration, when the same word is repeated, when the same sound is repeated in the consecutive words, we call it alliteration. Okay, trembling tree, sound, that is alliteration, but it's not an alliteration. Metaphor, when comparison is without using as or like. Okay, it's not comparison. She smiled and smiled and smiled. There is no comparison. Okay, and another word is repetition. Yes, of course, the words are repeated, smiled and smiled and smiled. So the poetic device used is repetition. Well done. So okay, there is one more extract, then there are another 8 questions of extract of MCQs, right children? And those MCQs children, here I was giving you one extract and 4 questions for MCQs. So this kind of 4 MCQs will be there, okay? So 4 MCQs are there. Out of 4 you have to do 2 with internal options. Then there would be 8 MCQs. Okay, one sentence base. For example, let me give you an option. Example, Frank says, will they make them sing in German, even the pigeons? What does he mean to say? So what does he mean to say when he says, will they make them sing in German, even the pigeons? Options are, he means to say that the pigeons can learn German easily. Second option, that the pigeons cannot learn German easily. Third option, that no language can be thrust on free birds. Fourth option, that compulsory introduction of any language is not possible. So what do you think is the correct answer? That no language can be thrust on free birds. Okay. So what about this option that compulsory introduction of any language is not possible? So this is wrong answer. So yours correct answer. C part is correct, Anurag. Yes. So these kinds of options, these kinds of MCQs for 8 marks will be there. So you might have been able to make out, children, by this that unless and until you read chapter very thoroughly and understand each and every word, it would be really difficult for you people to understand or attempt the correct MCQs. And the English paper has become extremely scoring also with the introduction of MCQs. But at the same time, you have to be extremely careful about text. Okay. So with this, we close our today's lesson. So all the best for your exams.